Good evening. Welcome to episode 14 of the About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube, as always, with my co-host Ben Wilson at our Trading Cards, Stefan Loeffler at Junk Wax Twins, and I'm Tim Shepler at Big Shep 79. We are a podcast by collectors for collectors, hoping to bring you a smart and insightful podcast about trading cards and collecting tonight. We're live every Wednesday here on YouTube at 8 p.m. You can always follow us on Twitter at About the Cards. We're available on iTunes. And finally, we're available on Stitcher officially. Search About the Cards pod there. And again, on YouTube, subscribe to our page.
Press that like button.
Check out the new show that we have. It's live on location, LOL. We had our first episode this weekend. We will be sharing trips to the LCS. This is local card show and much more. The first video, Steph interviews hobby legend and great Rich Klein at a local card show that they had down in Texas this last weekend. Steph,
Yep.
How'd that go? How was Rich?
Rich is great as always. A little trying to figure out my camera here. Sorry, guys. It just won't stay. No. Show was great. I picked something up for you. Well, you picked it up for yourself. But had a great time. Quickly interviewed him. Talked to a couple people about some variations and the whatnots. So yeah, it was a pretty good, pretty fun show, I think.
Outstanding. Ben, how's your week been since we last spoke?
It's been good. I've made a lot of headway on my Oakland A's card database. I've got 2005, 2006 put away, so I just need 2007 through 2013. And probably get into a little bit later, just kind of interesting insight about the year 2006 and the hobby. Maybe we'll touch on that a little bit later in the show.
Cool beans.
Outstanding. So
there it goes.
There, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. Having a little technical issues on my side tonight. I do apologize. Hey, Steph, you had some breaking news.
Oh, I don't know necessarily. Let's say breaking, but
come on.
Sorry, I'm getting dual feed from you. There we go. No, I know. I touched on it last week that Grams was going in for surgery. She's out. Everything's well. Blood pressure is back to where it's supposed to be. They still have to do the biopsy and the whatnots, but everything's looking well. She may not even need chemo, so we'll see.
Outstanding.
Keep
Round
you
of
guys
applause for Grandma.
There we go. That's what we love to hear.
Yes. She still can. If she gets healthy again, we can still do pierogies via the mail.
Damn right. When you get here,
yeah,
we'll mail them to your wife.
I've known you for 6 years now, and I've been tasting the pierogi ever since. I just haven't actually tasted Grandma's pierogies. So I'm glad that she's in good health, at least for now. Hopefully everything else goes well, and she can get home and we wish her the best.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, we're gonna hop right into the week that was last week's releases. We actually have two updates for Topps Livings for 2 weeks ago when we had Clemente, Tyler O'Neill, and Alvacel Garcia. We never really got the full numbers on those because they came out after we went live last week. It ended up being the 15th best week that we've seen so far. Over 20,000 cards were added. Clemente was almost 11,000 of those. He ends up being 12 out of the first, up to number 12 out of the first 78 cards. Tyler O'Neill of the Cardinals sold just over 5,400. He was 67, and then Alvacel Garcia sold just over 4,500 as well. He was 69 out of 78 there. This past week, the Topps Living set, week 27, we only saw just under 16,000 sold. It's the 24th out of 27 weeks. We had Jacob Degrom of the Mets. He sold 5,300. He was the 52nd most popular card. Rookie outfielder Victor Robles for the Washington Nationals sold over 6,100 cards. He was the 36th most popular card, and he's the 11th out of 22 rookies so far, so middle of the pack. And Oakland Athletic Jed Lowry's just sold over 4,300, making him the 72nd most popular card. The total print run is over 628,000 at this point. Guys, do any of those numbers really stand out or shock you?
I'm more curious how many of those 4,300 Ben bought.
One. We only need one.
Ew. Sorry, semi-breaking news. Maroon 5 to play the halftime show at the 2019 Super Bowl.
That broke like 12 hours ago.
Yeah.
Okay, we're on floor.
I was surprised that Clemente was almost at 11,000. I mean, 10,922. As a Hall of Famer, I mean, we've seen these guys just kind of peter out around 8,500 or so, but he was almost 11,000. And everybody else, I was surprised Robles wasn't more than 6,100. I figured he'd be close to 7,000, but I guess he just hasn't played as much this year and gotten the exposure as the other rookies.
Sure.
But he's kind of overshadowed by the other rookie on his team, and Juan Soto. So I felt Robles would kind of have a step back. Kind of surprised Degrom being in New York market. There's a lot of collectors up on the upper East Coast seaboard, and Degrom is having a ridiculous year. So I was kind of surprised that he came in a little lower, but everything's in line with kind of what we've seen. This whole 45 to 5,500 for at least two of the three guys, with one maybe jumping a little bit ahead.
Yeah, I think that Robles at the beginning of the season was a higher, more known, well talked about prospect than Soto, but Soto's put up those numbers and seen some outstanding performances out of him, and Robles just kind of hasn't. I know he was injured earlier in the year, so I think later on they're going to come back and look, and those Robles cards might end up being a good value, even though there's 6,100 of them. It could be one of the better values of the set. So we also had 2018 Panini Spectra Football last week, 2018 Bowman High Tech Baseball, which I still think is one of the more underrated products that we've talked about since we've started our show, and this is the 14th, 15th week we've done this. Just the amount of autos you're getting for $100 in that box is really good. I mean, there's a ton of prospects, a handful of rookies. Topps Heritage High Number Baseball, again, just one of my favorite. I love Heritage high number sets. I bought one blaster, and my wife picked it out and ended up being a hot blaster, so it was a purple refractor in every pack. Acuna and Ohtani purple in there, and a Acuna rookie. So nice. I got twice my money back at least if I were to go sell these on eBay. So I felt really good about that blaster, the last one I'm buying, because I was like, there's no way I can top that blaster, right, for $20.
That blaster.
Well, one thing about Heritage I was not a fan of, because of the Heritage High, which is basically an update set, was the amount of variations. I mean, I'm okay with a variation, but when I was putting together the list after I got into a break, and all the variations that Ryan Cracknell with Beckett Media had come out with, and he gets this whole list going with all the pictures as they populate, and Stephen Piscotty has a base, and then has the color, the throwback, and the trade variation. And then Jonathan Lucroy also has some, and just as one team collector, there's 5 variations for me to collect between 2 players. Ichiro, I think, had like 6 different variations, 5 or 6 variations. I think Ohtani had a stupid amount. And it's like, if this was Heritage, I'd be okay with it, the actual base release. But because it's Heritage High, it's a redundant product, and it has such a vast checklist on its own. It's like, I get that there's Heritage-only collectors, but as somebody that has to kind of space out their money, it makes it extremely frustrating. And it's just like you almost dread certain releases because there's going to be a lot of money cards on that checklist.
Yeah, but it's one of those things. I mean, I understand. I think the reason there's so much Ichiro, this is the last real opportunity Topps is going to have to put Ichiro in products, due to his retirement. I mean, they think they kind of wanted to put it out there as last Mariners card. Probably one of the most popular Mariners of all time, if not the most popular Mariner. I know there's a lot of debate, Harold Reynolds being the most popular Mariner ever. But it's one of those guys that, and I'm only kidding about Harold Reynolds, guys. We all know it's
I'll say
no. But no. I mean, just a fabulous career, and I understand that point. I thought it was weird though that Brandon Morrow of the Cubs has a card in the regular set of high number, but also in the short prints. and no one can.
That's odd,
right? And I don't understand. He's like in the 500s, and he has this card in the 700s. I think Cracknell's the one that sent that out, and it's not a variation. He just has 2 cards.
The other thing to be careful of too is Ichiro and Pedro Alvarez of the Orioles both have a color jersey, which looks to be. I'm looking right now. If you type in 2018 Heritage High throwback, and that's it. Right now, there's 6 Ichiros listed as a throwback jersey variation, all of which you can have for under $10. But if you scroll down a little farther, there's the actual throwback variation, which has them in a different jersey. So you want to be careful because both Ichiro and Alvarez, those are the only 2 I know of specifically. At first glance, if you're opening packs, you probably would think that you pulled a throwback, and that's just not the case. Yeah. So we saw that a couple years ago with Adam Eaton of the White Sox, where his base card had an old White Sox jersey, and people were buying them for $80 a piece, not knowing that they're just buying the base card. And, sellers are very, devious.
Deceptive almost.
Sometimes you don't know. I mean, if you pull that out of a pack, sweet. So it's not necessarily on them, but after the product's been out for about a week, we should know left from right at this point. And just be careful. If you when in doubt, always, search Ryan Cracknell's checklist, because he will have pictures on there. That way you're familiar with what, Piscotti got me because of his trade variations, a different picture than his base SP. So I myself had to go there to learn the difference. Yeah. You're not buying cards and overspending.
Yeah, and Cracknell's great because he usually by like the first 24 hours the product's out, he has almost all the variations. Man is a machine in getting those up there. In those, we have Topps update coming out here in like a month. We'll see all those variations pop up, and it'll have those hot off the press. So this week's new releases, we'll start off with Topps Living the week of September 19th through the 25th. It's the 28th week of Topps Living, and I'm loving it even more because I'm Nostradamus. Last week we talked about a couple teams not having cards. This week we get rewarded, boys. Thank you, Topps, for listening. I know you guys are listening now. Somebody on Twitter secretly said I work for Topps, and just keep that under your hat.
They're not Notre Dame. It's Nostradamus, but
that's what I said.
You said Notre Dame.
Well, close enough. Card number 28, Joey Votto, first baseman of the Cincinnati Reds. He's our second red.
28.
Card number 82.
Which I'm surprised.
I need a lot off Grandpa's whiskey tonight, guys. Card number 82, Joey Votto, first baseman of the Cincinnati Reds. He's the second red. Card number 83, David Boat, third baseman, Chicago Cubs. He's a rookie, and he's our fifth Cub, because we need a Cub, a Yankee, an A, and a National every couple weeks. And then card number 84, Trevor Story, shortstop, Colorado Rockies, the second Rocky. Last week I said give us Votto on the Reds and give us Garrett Hampstead, shortstop for the Rockies. They gave us Trevor Story. I'm okay with that. Hampstead's my guy. He's actually playing shortstop right now for the Rockies because Story's out with a elbow injury. So I got 1.5 of the 3 this week. You give me credit?
I'll give you 1.5. You got the position right.
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys both a question because I did ask you guys this before the show started, so I figured we'd catch this question and answer. Over the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've gotten more into the Topps Living set. Not just collecting A's, but collecting select rookies. I know, Tim, you're trying to grab all the rookies. I'm getting a few of those guys, plus all the Hall of Famers and retired players. And then a select version or group of players such as Joe Mauer, Pujols, Scherzer, guys that are either guaranteed Hall of Famers or borderline, and at least good players. I mean, Scherzer, Mauer have had great careers. So my question to you guys, knowing my collecting within the set, Boat I have no interest in. Trevor Story maybe someday, but not right now. Joey Votto, it's probably going to have a borderline Hall of Fame career by the time all is said and done. Do I pick up Votto knowing what I'm collecting?
So I'm going to say yes, and not just because I'm a quarter Canadian, but here's why. One, and I'm super interested that number 82 didn't go to a Yankee, given that in the original 1953 set, Mickey Mantle is number 53. But with it going to Votto, he's had the career. His numbers aren't, too far off. Super great personality. Didn't piss off any sports writers. He's got the MVP. He's been in several All-Star games, listed up and down the MVP charts, and several other years. Sure, his counting stats aren't there yet, but I mean, there's hard to find an argument not to if he doesn't play for another 2, 3, 4 years.
Okay, Tim, because you had a different opinion.
Yeah, he's in that Hall of really good. I think Dale Murphy should be a Hall of Famer, but I don't think Jack Morris should be a Hall of Famer. And I don't think that Alan Trammell should have been a Hall of Famer, but whatever. Votto fits into that group of guys. Mattingly should have been a Hall of Famer, but he just didn't play long enough due to injury. And so he's kind of in that group as well. He's close but no cigar, and he's a great guy. I remember he gave his jersey to a guy wearing a shirt that said Votto for president.
We'll see.
And then made a shirt that said Votto for Canadian
Prime Minister. Yeah, right. That's what he said it should have said.
I picked up the Altuve. But there's a difference with Altuve. He might not be a Hall of Famer depending on the longevity of his career, but he sure is fun to watch. And the other thing is, as an A's fan, I see him a lot over the last couple of years. I've seen a lot of his stuff. So for me, he's more of a fan favorite. He's short like me, so I see a lot of me in him from that aspect. He's a superstar, probably one of the more underrated players of our generation thus far. A guy that, even though he's won an MVP, I think history, kind of like Dale Murphy, I think history might, depending on what Altuve does. He got the ring where Murphy didn't, at least not with Atlanta. I don't think he won a ring with Philly either. Yeah, no, he wouldn't have. Yeah. So, it's one of those things. I don't necessarily have a soft spot for Votto,
But if you like the guy, get the card. I'm not saying don't. If you like some player that pops up here, you grab his card. And again, we go back to our whole theme of the show: collect what you like, right. Collect what you can afford.
Well, I value your opinions, and we've got Sports Card D in the chat room.
Real quick, what did you just say?
I worth your opinions.
Oh.
No, the reason I ask is because sometimes as collectors, we don't know what we want to collect. And this is new for me as an A's only collector to start venturing back into something that is a little out of my more recent comfort zone. If this was 1988, I'd have the whole set already. I'd be buying them all as they come out. But in this pick and choose and be selective era that we're in, sometimes you got to rely on other people's opinions and say, all right, look, this is what I'm thinking. Especially with Topps Living, where you're going to have 3 cards every week. I didn't get the Robles last week, but I got the Soto.
Yeah, my suggestion is if you think you were going to want the card, buy it the week that it comes out. Spend the $5, through whoever you purchase with, Twins Jake, and get it. And then if you later on determine you don't want it, you're going to be able to turn around and sell the card for $7, $8, $10, $12, $15, depending on the print run. But you're not going to be able to get it back for $5.
Right. No,
you might pay $7 or $10. Okay, not a big deal, but you could have bought another one. So. Sure. Buy it the week that it comes out, and then if you don't, turn around and flip it later on.
As somebody that's got a finance background like me, I always tell, friends and family when we get into the finances, it's just the cup of coffee, right? All I have to do is take a sandwich tomorrow instead of going to the fast food restaurant, which I don't need anyway, and I've already saved $8 or $9. So there's my Joey Votto. Yep. I do it on Friday. I can go back and get a Victor Robles,
So here's my best argument for it. By the end of his career, probably have 2,000 hits, maybe 300 home runs, 1,000 RBIs, 1,000 walks, and pretty good average on base and slugging. What's not to like?
And he's a good guy. He's Canadian though, so I guess that might hold him back a little bit. Nothing against our Canadian friends
and quarter Canadian co-hosts.
Canadians. We don't have a lot in the new releases this week as we get into 2018 Panini XR Football, which came out today. And if anybody can tell me what XR stands for, let me know.
Rare. Yeah.
Extra rare. Or is it X-rated? It's the second year of the product. It's about $100 a box. You're getting 2 packs per box, 7 cards per pack. The box breakdown is 2 autos, a mem, 1 insert, 4 parallels, 2 rookies, and 4 base. And I also know when you buy into a case, if you get a whole case, you're guaranteed a 1 of 1. There's 160 base cards. The first 100 are vets. The second 60 or the next 60 are rookies. And there's 8 parallel variations for all those base. There's 12 autograph sets. My favorite was the dual autograph swatch set. It had like Josh Rosen and Kurt Warner for the Cardinals, or Clinton Portis and Darius Geis for the Redskins, which I thought was pretty cool. Some of them were like Roethlisberger, and another one was like Roethlisberger and Mason Crosby. They are not feuding, and Roethlisberger's not upset. There's also 5 relic sets. My favorite was the jumbo rookie material set because they were having shields in those. There's 5 insert sets, and my favorite was the Vanguard set. It was all offensive linemen, but also too is that they have Vanguard basketball. It didn't look quite the same, but it was just interesting they had that in there. And they also had an interesting set that I saw with the Hall of Famers that had I'm grabbing the name real quick, but it had their Hall of Fame bust on there. And it was pretty cool. And it's called Gilded Greats. So it has their Hall of Fame, and there's some parallels in there. So you have like Montana, Jim Kelly, Rice, Riggins, LT, LaDainian Tomlinson, the real LT, Strahan, even Morton Anderson got in there, which I thought was pretty cool.
No, that is cool. Anderson. Kickers getting some love.
Yeah. But the one thing is it seemed when I watched a few breaks today, it seemed like the breaks were heavy, like Packers, Steelers, and then the next break was heavy on like Cardinals, and I forget the other team. So it seemed like if you were getting some of the if a certain team was popping up, they popped up quite a bit, which I thought was interesting. So the collation wasn't the best. The one thing is on those Gilded Greats in the break, they pulled 4 of the Montana Gilded Greats. So they were almost building the whole rainbow out of one case. So that was, to me, just a little interesting that it was that heavy.
Collation.
Yeah, the collation was a little off. Have you guys taken a look or seen these cards?
Well, I just shared a few pictures. So some of them look great, but I mean, the cards can look great all they want. It doesn't take much to hire a couple of design editors, but the collation issue is what would be my concern.
Yeah,
especially in this day and age of box breaking. If you're just a single box collector, what do you care? I mean, you're either going to hit a PC item or you're not. But I saw that quite a bit a couple years ago when I was still box breaking, buying into the A's regularly. It seemed like you get nothing but Phillies and Reds. It seemed like no matter what I chose to buy into, all I was getting. And so, yeah, the collation's a big problem, especially since we know these companies are catering to the big box breakers. If you buy into a break that's got a limited amount of hits and half of them are from one team, and it's not your team.
Yeah, and the other thing was I was putting the show notes together this week on Monday and Tuesday. The checklist wasn't available until late on Tuesday. And the product came out Wednesday. So that's just a frustration point for me. If you were going to buy into a break, we're going to talk about this a little bit later. But if you're going to buy into a break, or you want to go buy the product on release day when it's hot and it's fresh and it's the newest thing, because the cycle of during football season, we have 16 weeks of football. We have a handful of weeks of playoffs. When product comes out, it really has a short shelf life. It's that week, maybe the next. You might have 10 days on a product. Have the checklist out and ready so people can know, like, hey, I want to buy in. I want to hop in. I want to get the Lions, And I like the design of the cards and stuff. But to me, there's not a lot of – I don't know. It doesn't – it's not one of the products I would probably go down and chase if I'm putting money into football. But go check it out and see if you can find a box break. Also this week, hey guys, you ready? 2017-18 Panini Opulence basketball comes out Friday. I know Ben's got his wallet open. It's only a little over $1,100 a box, as Steph has got some photos up here showing some of the cards on the video.
Open. Here is my wallet open for Opulence or any 17-18 basketball product.
Yeah, one pack of box.
Weezer put it best. Say it ain't so.
Yeah, 1 pack a box, 10 cards per pack. You're getting 7 autos or mem in there. You're getting a 100-card base set with 4 parallel sets underneath those base. There's 24-card rookie auto and rookie patch auto sets. Those are all numbered out of 79. Those are all 3 parallels as well, of course. There's over 15 autograph sets. Some of my favorite autograph sets were the Championship Hall signature sets. Those are players from NBA championship teams. They also had gold medal autograph set, which is USA basketball autos. And there were some greats on there. And then rookie patch autograph booklets and logos. So these had nameplates from their jerseys, as well as the sponsor logos that I think 23 teams had last year. The Blazers the 24th, and that'll be this season. There's a NBA Finals booklet set that had 20 cards with the Cavs and the Warriors, and those cards also offer 1-of-1 logo men. It's just more. It's more high end 17-18 basketball. We still have Flawless to come out. Steph's showing some photos here. You have a booklet that has Fultz, Ball. It looks like the first 8 picks in the draft: Tatum, De'Aaron Fox, Markkanen, Dennis Smith, Donovan Mitchell, and Kyle Kuzma. So it's probably 8 of the top rookies. The Championship Hall here it's a big gold card. Got Shaq in the middle with his Lakers jersey. Can you go back to that Shaq card real quick? I just wanted to see something. He signed it with 33, which is interesting because he's wearing 34 with the Lakers. Anyway, but no, it's one of those things. It's gonna be pretty to look at, and just more 17-18 basketball for us. Are you guys excited?
Yeah. At what point? I mean, we talk about this all the time, and it's not anything that's brand new to the hobby. Is the overkill that we have in the redundancy? It's if it was something new, if it was something different, and now we're what 27 days away from the start of the NBA season, and we're still releasing, last year's rookies. I don't care about last year's rookies. I mean, I do, but in last year's products, now I'm on.
Even the breakers in the LCSs are kind of over it, I think. I mean, it's been good for them, but at the same point in time, it's like, okay, we need to move on and we got to get off this class, because what you're going to do is end up hurting the next class that's out. And there's only been 1 product release for this class, and I don't know. Steph, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm not a huge basketball person, but as a huge send-off or a year-end or bookend, it's not a bad-looking set.
But we still have Flawless. There's going to be at least 1 more product.
Well, sure, but I mean, topping off the year with 2 high-end products, it's not bad. But maybe push this back 3-4 months, so that this is releasing in June, right, with the NBA Finals, or maybe even July.
And I think the only reason that hasn't been, I think we talked about this before on the show, was they want to have on-card autos on this and on the Flawless. They don't want to do stickers on the higher end, and the players, most of those players are playing through the season and some into the playoffs, so it's getting their autos on card and getting those out. But I can't wait till we can move on to 18-19. I'm excited about my Sacramento Kings this year, Rookie of the Year, Harry Giles.
Nobody ever.
Yeah, can't wait. Season ticket to the office will be great. The last new release this week comes out on Friday as well. 2018 Leaf autograph mini helmet. It's about $80 for 1 mini helmet. Some highlights in there in Aaron Rodgers, Barry Sanders, Tom Brady, Sam Darnold, and I was confused on this last one, Walter Payton. So Sweetness, man, he's been gone some time now. So I don't know how long they've been holding on to these helmets for. You're also getting Dak, so I don't know how Dak got those into the
auto pen
machine. Jerry Rice, Elway, Marino, Calvin Ridley, which is the one weird name that doesn't fit with the rest here. Staubach, Terry Bradshaw. But I'm just concerned, man, when did these Walters helmets get signed? How long they've been holding on to them right?
Yeah,
Right.
it's not like it's a sticker dump or sticker auto in trading cards.
Yeah, it's on helmet, so interesting. But always a fun break. I mean, I like the little mini helmets. They're awesome to display, for memorabilia purposes. So not a lot this week. What's brewing for next week, though, guys? We're going to have 5 releases next week. We have 2018 Panini Flawless Collegiate Football. The 2018 TriStar Autograph Baseball Series number 10. 2018 Panini National Treasures Baseball. So, gosh, if you collect Flawless and National Treasures, open the wallet. Next week's going to be expensive.
I'm looking forward to National Treasures. I love National Treasures. Unlicensed be damned. I really don't care. It's such a
They do a great job at that. Yeah.
2018 Topps Heritage Minor League Baseball, and then the big one, 2018 Bowman Chrome Baseball, which we're gonna try to explain next week. We're gonna get into, people are asking us on Twitter, like, what the hell is the difference between Bowman Chrome, Bowman Draft? But there's Chrome and Bowman and Jumbo, so we're gonna go through and explain what's going on next week with Bowman.
Can I throw a shout out to Topps regarding a checklist? Yes or no? I didn't read the show notes all the way through.
Shoot, yeah. What's up?
No, I was actually impressed by Topps. We've talked about this in the past, specifically with Topps Fire. So today they released the Bowman Chrome checklist, and here it is, the 19th. I believe the target date is next Wednesday for Bowman Chrome, and then on the 28th is Heritage Miners, which would be next Friday, and that checklist also dropped today. So kind of to follow up on a point you were making earlier about that checklist and box breaking not being available right away, I thought they did a good job. Both those came out today. It allows us an opportunity for a week to kind of soak it in, decide. I tweeted out saying something about Heritage Miners today, and I know, Tim, you were excited.
Oh, yeah.
Pins and needles. But it was nice to be able to look at the checklist and go, hey, I've got a week to decide if I want to buy anything before it comes out, as opposed to I got to think about this today because, shoot, it's already coming up on eBay.
Hey, guys, and I want to give a quick shout-out to some guys kind of giving back to the hobby right now.
Sure.
They're still probably making some money on this, of course, but Mojo Break is selling Bowman Chrome hobby boxes for $109.99, so $110 for a hobby box. Now, if you're going anywhere else, they're in like the 120 to 130 range. They're going to open on release day for you. They're just trying to give back to the hobby without trying to gouge and make a lot more money. They could be if they sold. I think they've sold 7 or 8 full cases already at this price point. I know they did sell one case at $100 a box, but they're putting it back, giving it back to the hobby. They're only going to do this, I think, for one more full case. They said today, and it's still on their website as of 8:30 here on Wednesday night, West Coast time. So mojobreak.com, go check them out. The guys Dan and Doug are awesome, and I would, if you want a box and you want an inexpensive box, 110 is not bad for Bowman Chrome because you're going to see it other places. Like I said, maybe upwards of 150 a box by release date. So, one of those things to if you want, go grab an inexpensive box and get your couple autos and get your chrome fill. So, I want to get into an argument tonight. Are you guys ready? You guys ready to battle?
Wait. This isn't bad.
So Ben's the saltiest dude I know, and we got into it this week. I got called a dum-dum, but I also called him a snowflake.
Without the B, though. It's not dumb as in you're dumb, D-U-M-B. It was dumb, D-U-M. So it's like, come on, dum-dum.
Yeah, still it hurt a little bit, but hey, no worries. We're talking about 2019 Topps Baseball. Card number 1. So there was a vote they sent out, and it listed 19 players and had one write-in, and it said vote for who you think should be the number 1 card in Flagship this next year. Now the choices they gave were I'm going to go through them all, so bear with me here. Bryce Harper, Scherzer, Juan Soto, Mookie Betts, Chris Sale, Chris Bryant, Javi Baez, Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, Francisco Lindor, Ronald Acuna, Jacob deGrom, Clayton Kershaw, and Trevor Story, and Miguel Cabrera. So it's 12 teams. You have the Nationals, Red Sox, Cubs, Astros, Angels, Indians, Braves, Mets, Dodgers, Rockies, and Tigers. So you had 12 of the 30 teams listed. So many people got bent out of shape that my team wasn't there, my player wasn't there, and Top said, hey, you know, with the site that we're using to gather this data, we can only put in so many. It looks like 20 because they had 19 players to write in. So if your person wasn't there, you could write in your votes. I know that Ben voted for Chris Davis, who's half a baseball player. He can hit home runs, but he can't throw a baseball.
He's a good half, though.
I know that that Steph wrote in his idol, Bartolo Colon, and I selected Mike Trout. Mike Trout is hands down the best baseball player we have. And if you're going on just baseball player, he is the best baseball player, so therefore he should be card number 1. These other guys are popular and famous. We got this argument. Well, every team should be lit. Not every team should be listed, because I can tell you right now, there is not a Tampa Bay Ray player that's better than any of these guys listed.
Oh, so you don't want to list all of them, but it's okay to list 2 Red Sox and 2 Cubs and to shove it up your butts, right? Let's have the Yankees. At this point,
there's 2 Yankees. There's 3 Nationals, which is weird. But if you look at Scherzer,
there was no Brewer.
So who cares?
Yeah, I care because
you can write in your Brewer.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter if they're there. Then if it doesn't matter
in the 2020 presidential election, if you're given Trump versus your Democratic nominee, right? Write my name in. Write my name in. I'm going to get all of 0 votes, right? You know, you're going to split the difference. You're going to have A's fans voting for Chapman and Olsen, not just Davis, okay? Have one person from each team represent. You can find a website.
Why does everybody have to have representation in this?
You're asking the entire industry. You're asking collectors to vote. I don't want to vote for a National versus a Cub versus a Dodger versus a Yankee versus an A's.
Write your guy in.
Then just make it Mike Trout, and who cares? Don't even ask our opinion.
I still think we should go back to 70, 71, 72, where they put the World Series champion as the first card.
Fine. I'm okay with that. Let's honor the Houston Astros in this past years, and whoever wins this year gets the next year's. I'm good with that.
Well, maybe it will be the Tampa Bay Rays, because we all know they're going to beat the A's for the wild card.
Okay,
Steph, what are your thoughts?
I'm okay with that.
As Don Jr. here takes a break, Steph, what are your thoughts?
I'm Switzerland in this one between you two, but no. The easiest way and most similar thing that I can think of is the MLB All-Star break. There is an argument to be made, not the All-Star break, but the final vote. There is an argument to be made that if left to the devices of the fans, for the most part, the teams that are going to be most represented are going to be the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Cubs, the major market teams. However, just looking at the last 5, 6, 7, 8 teams, for the final vote, it's been Kansas City, Toronto, Kansas City, Chicago, Toronto, Texas, White Sox. Going back to 2010, you have the first Yankee.
Yeah.
As long as you're not having a case of the mid 50s of 57 Reds ballot stuffing issue, as far as letting the fans decide something, and that seems to be what Thomas wants to do the last couple of years now. Hashtag vote Bartolo.
But my thing is that, Jenny, I love you, Jenny, but listen, the true collector is, if they have somebody they want in there, they can write them in. But I'm just going to let you know right now, even if they didn't ask for our opinion, it's going to be someone from this list. And I'm already marking off Story's not going to be the guy. Cabrera's not going to be the guy. Degrom won't be. You can knock off Soto and Acuna and Lindor. If it was left to Tops and they didn't ask us, it's going to be between Harper, Trout, Stanton, Judge, and Ohtani. Those are the 5 guys it comes down to. I'm telling you right now.
Depends.
A ridiculous trade where and I actually endorse a Mike Trout trade, honestly. I think that's what the Angels need to do. But let's assume that Trout doesn't get traded. Harper's going to sign with somebody, most likely the Phillies. and possibly the Yankees, but he probably gets card number 1 because it's probably going to be the first card of him, unless you count like a Topps Now, traded, or free agent signing card. It's going to be the first official release of Harper.
If Harper leaves, he won't be until Series 2.
It depends on it depends on how soon he signs. If he doesn't sign till January, yeah, he's not going to be in that jersey.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing. At the end of the day, it's one of those things. There was something on the West Wing that a pollster named Joey Lucas was asked to draw a quote whether or not the president should get involved in flag burning, and they said that everybody said yes, he should. It was like predominantly. Then they had a follow-up question: how bad do you really care about it? On a scale of 1 to 10, is flag burning a hot button topic? So without getting into politics, my thought is we all are going to have an opinion on how Topps should go about selecting number 1. Either keep it internal and make it, your favorite player, or open it up to the collectors population, but make it a fair thing where everybody should be represented fairly. But it's one of those things, at the end of the day, I honestly don't care. It comes back to the question or the point I was making about the West Wing of scale of 1 to 10, don't care. I don't get the whole set, and if I do, I'm buying it as a factory set or hand collated set. So at the end of the day, the only time number 1 matters is if it is an Oakland A. But any which way, I'm going to buy my team set. I could not tell you who the last one is or the one before.
I'm just saying, though, the whole point that's being lost here real quick is the screen shows that Susie at Yanks Chick, one of my favorite Topps employee too, is down with getting Bartolo Colon to be the first card in the set. So Steph bribed her and she agreed. But what I'm saying is it doesn't, my whole point behind this is it doesn't matter that all the teams weren't represented, because it doesn't.
It does. It's indicative.
You have the option. You have the option to write your team in.
Doesn't matter. You're not going to get enough support for any of the people that are.
Hold on. So real quick, if the A's player was, let's say what's that? The guy that Franklin Barreto, right? He hasn't even really played on the team. What if it was Franklin Barreto was the guy they listed for the A's? Would you vote for him?
It shows that Topps and the holder of an exclusive license is still concerned about my interest in the hobby. Here's the thing. So
if they didn't care about your interest, they wouldn't have a write-in option.
No, yeah, they do that to it's a throwaway. Come on. It's a throwaway, just like on an all-star ballot.
But real quick, then. So you're telling me whenever they talk and they show and they have the guys on the cover, if you look at all of the boxes of baseball cards in the last handful of years, it's always Harper and Trout seem to rotate quite a bit. Okay,
and that's what I'm saying.
When card number 1 pops up, and that's the card they're going to show and talk about, and usually it's like, hey, this is a big deal. Like Andy Pafko was just was the first Topps card. But what I'm saying is when they talk about that one card, it's the one option that they're gonna show it first, right? And they want it to be a popular, a player people know.
Don't ask our opinion then. Just make it that way.
See, I don't understand why you guys you get so soft and so upset with this.
No, seriously.
You say it doesn't matter. You say you don't care. You say you don't care, but you get so upset because your team's not listed.
One of the first rules as an economist is
love everybody. Why can't everybody have everything?
No, seriously, listen to me. Streamline efficiency, right? They're already catering. You look at the stupid numbers, the lopsided ass numbers on Topps Throwback Thursday, and all it is the same cycle of the same 8 teams and the same 8 players week after week after week. Some of the other teams, there's like 8 teams that haven't even had a card all season, despite the fact that there's a weekly release of 6 or more cards.
The Twins still haven't had a throwback card since that set was issued.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And the bottom line is we want representation because it keeps us interested. You're catering to the masses that are only interested in a select group of players. You're neglecting a consumer base that is your true foundation. You're taking a segment of an industry and making it smaller by saying now you can.
They're not excluding your team from the set.
No,
they're limiting it down to the options of the card, the player that's going to be on the first
you do
card.
For Topps.
I'm just saying you're limiting.
Out there,
right, we need to move on because you
you're
say
like
you don't care.
Stick up the chocolate popsicle.
You're getting so upset right now, and you say you don't care. I'm saying they're not limiting. They're not gonna. It's not like they're not gonna have Giants, Royals, Twins, Yankees cards and their Blue Jays cards, right? But they're trying. They're trying to. It's a popularity vote for this card number.
And at this point, then why not just make a whole set of the top 6 teams with all the same players rotated, like the old Upper Deck documentary series where it only had like 4 players and they just rotated the picture every 5th card, depicting the entire 162 season. Why not just do that? Okay, so you're going to release 330 cards. I'm going to get 80 Ohtanis and 80 Trouts and 80 Harpers, and you know.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it for it's one card out of the 350 that come out in Series 1. They just want to know who you guys think who the first card should be in that set.
Hey Ben,
and it's going to be a popular
your blood pressure medicine tonight.
I am. My blood pressure is a normal 170 over 120.
Anyway,
and I brought out the salt because I wasn't sure I was going to get salty enough, so I wanted to make sure I had some on standby.
I'm just saying it's so funny to me because people got so sad that their team wasn't listed. My Royals were listed, and it's not because I want Salvador Perez to be card number 1, because there's no way in hell that's ever happening. Look back. If you look back, like Steph, you had it pulled up. You sent it to us earlier in the week. The last 10 cards. Do you have that in front of you? We could name off the last 10 number 1 cards in the set.
Sure. Give me a
okay,
sec.
let's just see what these players have in common. To me, it's going to be fascinating because you're going to go, oh my God, yeah, it's one of the most popular players. Oh, it's an all-star. Oh, it's an MVP candidate every season.
What it is it's the damn radio station that plays the same 8 songs on loop. That's what it is. Sometimes I want to hear the deep track too.
The deep track's still on there. That's what I'm saying.
He doesn't. That's cool. Then release the whole album.
You are. It's just not going to be the first track on the CD.
You only get to listen to these 8 songs unless you buy the album.
You are missing the point.
You're missing the point.
How? Because all those cards, all those players that we're talking about that you'd want from the A's are going to be in the set. Sorry, they don't get an option at number 1 because guess what? No one gives a shit about the A's.
Don't ask us. Just make it Trout or Harper.
Don't vote. Don't vote.
I voted. I already voted for Chris Davis.
And he can't even throw the baseball.
It doesn't matter. Yes, he can. It just stopped 20 feet away.
He plays out. He couldn't even play first base and throw it to first base, bro.
Yeah, well, he's my favorite player, so ooh.
Yeah, and he'll be gone next year because they can't afford him.
Probably, and then I'll have a new favorite player, and then the next.
Because that's what you have to do as an A's fan.
That's right. We're the minor league team. We've been doing it since the old days in the 50s with the Yankees.
Well, you certainly have a minor league stadium.
Yeah, and we got a brand new one for the AAA affiliate in Las Vegas.
They probably have a better stadium.
Although they are saying the terminal's getting pretty serious.
Cutting back from 2008, you've got Yankees, A-Rod, Prince Fielder, and that huge celebration shot. Ryan Braun for some weird fucking reason. Bryce Harper in 2013, Mike Trout 2014, Derek Jeter 2015, 2016 Mike Trout, 2017 Chris Bryant, 2018 Aaron Judge.
Yep. Anyway, moving on. 2018 Bowman Chrome Shohei Ohtani rookie autograph superfractor, guys. That is ending here in less than 24 hours. We have 22 hours, 25 minutes and counting.
And I updated that since
I did.
I did.
Yeah, the current bid's $44,426, 16 bids. So how much do you think it will go for?
Just shy of 50.
Just shy of
because I think the minimum bid is 6,000 per bump. So maybe 1 or 2 more bids.
What do you think, Ben? You okay there? You calm down?
When the boys at Mojo on their podcast, The Hype, were talking about it, I was under the impression of around 50 to 60. However, that same day, right after their show ended, that's when there was talk about Shoei maybe having surgery again and being out all of remainder of this year plus all of next year.
Then he hit 2 home runs.
Then he got 2 home runs. And so I had revised my thought that itself were right about what it's going for, right around 40 to 50. Now that he has played, I think my original estimation, basically right where Stefan's at too, is somewhere between, I would say 52 to 55 would be a fair estimate.
I think it's crazy. I think we get upwards of 80. And I think what happens is because they used this site, which is goodwinandco.com, to sell the card. And the reason being is it allows for international bids as well, where FeeBay doesn't as much. And they're a little bit of different auction sites. So there's a little more protections. So I have a feeling you're going to get upwards of somewhere. Someone's going to come in at the end, and it's going to go back and forth, and you're going to see it somewhere of north of 80,000.
One thing to keep in mind: what's the buyer's premium? Like 20%. So the way that works for anybody that doesn't know is fees are not going to be withheld against the actual amount. So if it's sold at $44,000, then that's just what that is. Then the seller gets all $44,000. However, the buyer, if it was 20%, would have to pay an additional $8,800.
It's 20%.
Is it 20%?
Yeah.
That goes to the auction house. That's their commission off of listing and presenting the cards. So at this point right now, whoever's buying is on the hook for roughly 52 grand out of pocket. Just to kind of give anybody an idea of what a buyer's premium is.
Quick, I'll just read directly from their thing. Bid amounts placed in the sale at www.website.com are sometimes also referred to as the hammer prices. Buyer's premium will be added to the winning bid or hammer price and is payable by the purchaser as part of the total purchase price. The buyer's premium is equal to 20% of the winning bid price. For example, in the event you win a lot with a successful bid price, hammer price, of $1,000, then your total cost for that will be equal to the 1,000 successful bid price plus the 20% buyer's premium. And in this example, the total cost for the lot will equal $1,200 plus shipping, handling, insurance, sales tax if applicable. And I pasted that link into the YouTube chat.
So you said the minimum bid was 6,000?
Yep.
That's not how much it has to go up over this. Like, it doesn't have to go up to 50,000 or 26 next. That's just the starting bid is $6 grand. So it's like a reserve essentially, except instead of it being reserve where you can bid up to the reserve, if this card was at auction with 0 bids, $6 grand is
okay. Now I was thinking of minimum increment. Never mind.
Yeah. Usually at this price range, it's generally between $1,000 to $2,000.
Sure.
Generally, it depends on the auction house, of course. But it's kind of like how you play poker and your blinds raise, from 10 to 20, then they jump to 20 to 40 as the game progresses. It's the same kind of thing. The higher this bid goes, the more that next bid will have to be. Generally, it's still relatively small. I mean, you could probably bid 45 or 46 next, and then once it hits 50, it might jump up to 3,000 to 5,000 per bid.
Yep.
Right.
I think it's interesting. So next week we'll come back, and it's super interesting to me because it got pulled here in Sacramento, and it's a local collector, and I'm trying to see if we can maybe get an interview with him at some point once it sells. Just a quick one to see, what it was like, the whole experience of pulling the card. It made its way around the National. It's been all over the place, and it's been one of the most talked about cards in the hobby in the last handful of years. So very interesting. And we're going to continue the big dollar talk. So this week, 2018 Topps Panini or Topps Transcendent Party was announced. The Transcendent set comes out usually late December. It comes in a limited set in a polished aluminum briefcase, and it started in 2016, and that had 65 sets. And then in 17 there were 87 sets because they were they did the 35th anniversary of 87 Topps. This year there's going to be 83 sets. Again, the anniversary of the 83 set. The original price for a Transcendent box was around $25,000. And I'm going to pull up Ben here. He's got one of the Transcendent cards of Ricky.
That's the Ricky base from 2016, numbered out of 65. Yep.
And with that $25,000, you're going to get an invite to the private VIP Topps party, and they pay for your room and board, and they pay for you this party, and there's a dinner, and there's raffles, and there's prizes and stuff they give away, and a lot of that stuff's been valued. Guys have gone and getting $5,000 to $6,000 worth of prizes and product there, which is pretty cool. You're going to get a complete Transcendent Icons base set, usually around 50 on-card autos, a sketch card, a cut auto in there. And they, you have former presidents and players and historical figures, pretty good. So they've always had a baseball guest, a baseball player as a guest. In 16, it was in Vegas with Chris Bryant. Last year was in Atlanta with Hank Aaron. This year it's going to be right as spring training's getting kicked off in Scottsdale with Mike Trout. And 2 days after this, they're having the Topps Industry Summit that they have down there as well. They've broken away from the real industry summit. And they have their own now, and it will be 2 days following this. So the speculation is these tickets were normally going for $5 or $6 grand to get in there when they're sold on the open market. That they're going to close somewhere to $7,000 to $10,000 because the dealers are going to hold on to these because they're going to be down there and they're going to want to go to this party as well. So are we ponying up 25 grand to get one of these boxes and split between the three of us?
No offense, guys, but oh hell no.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's cool to have one of the cards, right? You have one of the cards. I mean, that's neat.
Yeah, I've got 20. This is 2017. I was able to pick up both 2016 and 2017 at auction. Surprisingly enough, the 2016 one only cost me like $27. I think this one only cost me $35. And considering it's Ricky Henderson, it's extremely limited, and it's out of a $27,000 box. I was shocked that these weren't selling for a lot of money, but you had the whole fiasco with 2016 where the metal was falling off the edge of the autos, and overall, this whole product is a mess. I mean,
I think the most popular thing in it is the VIP pass to the party.
The 2016, I forget. So last year was who? Bryant was last year?
No, Hank Aaron was last year. Bryant was the year before.
Yeah. Bryant was the year before. So, yeah, it was the Chris Bryant, and then there were autos of Daisy Ridley and John Boyega in 2016. I think they were numbered out of 10, if I'm not mistaken. And those were selling for upwards of $1,500 to $2,500. But overall, you're not getting your 25 grand back. So, basically, you're only gambling to get that ticket to go to that party. That's it.
Right.
And if you sold it on, I think last year they were selling for like 12 to 15 grand, which is expensive, but it pales in comparison to, you're spending 27 to get something worth 12 to 15 on the open market. So it's really, you're buying the experience.
Well, those sets too that you're going to get when you go there, you're going to get another numbered set. The first year was a Chris Bryant set, and it was out of 65, numbered out of 65. And everybody got a set in their autos in there. Last year was Judge, and it was 87 cards. And it was one card from 52 tops all the way through 17, plus a few all-star inserts with him on there. And they all had a one-of-one game-used relic and I think an auto in there. And those sets were going for quite a bit. And then they were also giving away cards and autographs. And you got in a picture. You got to do a Topps Now card with the player. So it was Hank Aaron last year, getting a Hank Aaron. Everybody left with a Hank Aaron auto card. So right. I think it's more of the experience and going. It's always great to see what comes out of these boxes and neat to view. I know you can get into, there's a lot of guys that do breaks of it, and you can get in a break for, I think there's like 100 and something cards in the set. So usually it's around $100 or so to get into a break on one of these, maybe a little bit more, but interesting to see. But it'd be fun to go, right?
Yeah, sure. But
it's all about that party. It's all about that party.
It's one of those things. It was explained to me by a local card shop owner when I was first getting back into the hobby. I got back in around 2010, but by 2012 was about when I really started getting into the hobby more serious. And I told him I didn't understand what box breaking was. I understood what it was, but it's like I don't understand the idea behind the gambling. And it's just one of those things. If you're not if you've never done drugs, it's hard to understand why somebody would do drugs. If you're not a gambler, I don't understand how somebody could go drop X amount of dollars on a roulette table, or craps table. And he's like, see, the thing is, the people that are buying these boxes, the Transcendents and the National Treasures, they're not us. They're not that portion of the hobby is isolated to the same people that aren't playing video poker on the slot, or the slot machines and stuff like that. They're playing real poker, high stakes, no limit. That's what this is. If you're making at the end of the day, if you're making $50,000, you're not buying into these types of products.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, definitely. It's it's just one of those things that it's fun to see what comes out of it, and the people that get to go experience that. And there's a few guys that go to these parties, and they share it, via social media, and one of those things we'll retweet and we'll bring out so you guys can take a look at it and see what's coming out of it. I want to move on to a topic that we're going to go into more depth in, and like we talked about our live on location that happened this week. We're also going to have what we're going to call the Dime Box, and they're going to be like 10-minute videos that we're going to share every so often about certain topics that maybe we can't get into the show as much in depth, but we're going to limit ourselves to 10 minutes on it, and it's going to be collecting focus, more knowledge than opinion. But we want to talk about some of the best hobby resources online right now that are out there. If you're wanting to get some more knowledge or some more information about this. So a few of them we're just going to kind of go through, and in no particular order. The first one we have is trading card database. So Steph, what are your thoughts with trading card database?
So much similar to Baseball Cardpedia. It's run by a few guys. Super nice. Met them at both Chicago Nationals. They're trying to bring images to just basic checklists. So they have you can do it, type in a search and go like 1980 tops, and it'll show it people's kind of in the Wikipedia version of editing. Here's the images based on that. Here's the checklists that are based on this, and anybody can submit it. Anybody can edit, try to send a submission through. It's really a great database resource as far as checklists go. And let me pull it up here.
Benjamin,
screen share while we go through them.
One of the other ones I know you're going to bring up is team sets for you. The reason I brought it up prematurely is because as an A's collector, I've been building this master A's database for the last 4 or 5 years now, of every A's set. And I got most of the team sets from Team Sets for You because the way they lay them out is by team set. So it makes it extremely user-friendly for me. I've been spending the last few months on Trading Card Database hitting all the holes because it is very extensive about finding all the individual sets that you want. They're in numerical order. So, you would have to do a little bit more searching on there if you were going to build checklists. But as Stefan is showing on the screen, pretty much every release is on there. Some of the checklists on the more obscure things are a little harder. And as Stefan mentioned, a lot of users throughout the years have submitted pictures, sometimes front and back of their cards, showing what they're after. So it really does help if you're unsure of, well, I've got a card from 2005 that I think is the right one, but I'm not sure. And there was a lot of duplicity with Donruss and Fleer and Upper Deck those years, where it's like they just made the same checklist over and over and over again with a slight variation and called it a different insert set.
Yeah.
So the pictures are definitely helpful for team or player collectors, depending on what your collecting habits are.
Yeah, well, just as a reference.
No, and I like it because you can sort it out. Like if you go and like when I was building my my Royals and Giants tops only sets, you can go through there and sort it by brand, and even breaks it down from like tops bunt, tops opening day, tops gold, all of those, and then you can break it out from there, and then you can even break it down to team. It was great, and it was easy to do and put together. It's great for doing the player collecting. You also can keep track of your collection on there as well. So you don't have to create something. You can go through and actually put in, you have this card, and start to build your collection and have a site where you can go and use it as a resource when you're on the go at a show or a shop, which I think is great. As we're showing here on the screen, you guys, unfortunately, if you're on the podcast, check us out on YouTube. You can see the video, or you'll be able to see the difference here. There's tons of links, even the errors. It'll talk about errors and variations. It'll number them out, and it'll tell you what they are. And a lot of this, we're looking at 63 tops right now, and it's showing all the different errors and variations for certain cards. Even if there's like a card skipped as well, because I know that was a case in a few of the mid 60s where a card number just doesn't exist, or they had a dual card number and a card number was missing. So just a great resource, and one of those, if you can help support, definitely do. You can search by Hall of Famers. You can search by insert sets, rookies, only rookies in that set. If you want to collect rookies from the 63 top set, boom, you can find them. It's pretty cool. Right now we're showing no number stickers that came in that set of Hank Aaron. God, that's awesome. So it's wonderful to see that. Another great set, like Ben talked about, was Team Cards for You. It's a really good resource to be able to go and grab sets at a good price and find them all together, and usually in really good shape. I found when I purchased from them. Another good resource always is Beckett Media. We talked about earlier, Cracknell's on top of all the releases coming out. Almost a good majority of the data that I provide with the new releases comes from his site, his information, as well as the variations, and even the ability to go and search older cards. They do have some services you have to pay for on there to use, but just as a new release source, it's a really good one. Do you guys usually go there as well?
Beckett is great because they've been in business for such a long time that they have the volume of information there. And if you pay for the subscriptions, the price guides are pretty good. But I try to stick to a site that we haven't mentioned yet, a forum we haven't mentioned yet, and Trading Card DB. But that's just a personal preference.
Most of my experience with Beckett came from when I was helping run a local card shop here in Sacramento a couple of years ago. Because as an LCS, I mean, the price guide was kind of like the holy Bible of the industry. As you're pricing out cards and dealing with customers on market worth and whatnot. So I was extremely familiar with that at the time as far as an online source goes. It doesn't fit into my particular needs because once I buy something, I don't care what it's worth now. I mean, I'm not selling it. So Beckett's, their checklists are great. Ryan's, picture checklists are fantastic for variations and whatnot. The price guide, though, is not what I need personally. But if you are buying and selling, it's a great resource. I think they've got a monthly and yearly subscriptions, which I think you can, if I'm not mistaken, at least you used to be able to buy just one sport, or you can buy all the sports depending on what your particular needs are. So definitely look into it, especially if you're, flipping and, ripping and flipping. It's definitely a resource you should at least consider.
Another good one is Cardboard Connection. Has always been there as well, and it's in some flux of ownership possibly, but it's still a good resource for product and information at no cost to you. New released information's there, checklist, previous stuff. Like when we had Cracknell on, he wrote a lot of the stuff that originally was on there. Spent a lot of time working for that site. That's a good resource. Also, ComC, check out mycards.com. Is a site that you can buy and sell on, but also too a good resource to find some oddballs or some rarity cards that you might not see everywhere.
Or if you just want the best thing for ComC, not to stop you from progressing, as I pull it up here, is being able to say, hey, what does 1967 Topps Killer Brew look like? I have one in my hand, but I don't know what it actually looks like. Well, they have 16 different images for purchase, but you can compare the images to see this is the exact card you get. You're not going to get, say, this one if you buy that one up there. But for somebody like me who compares like small minute variances like a 1988 Donruss or 1989 Donruss, the ability to see each individual image is pretty great.
Yeah, no, definitely. Every card they have scanned there. You can see front and back. You can zoom in and see all the corners and everything. It's a great resource too. If you're looking to move stuff in your collection at a pretty reasonable cost. I mean, there's fees for them to process your cards, but not when you sell them. There's always sales and stuff. It's pretty good. It's one of those sites I would definitely go check out. Another great site out there, and I haven't used as much as Net54. So, Steph, fill us in on Net54.
That's the forum that I mentioned. Net54 is run by a local guy here. The site is extremely outdated looking. It looks like it's from 1999 or 2000. But the wealth of knowledge of the people that are on the website, especially for vintage sets and information, is amazing. There are threads for everything going back several years. People talking about Gaudi sets, or hey, I bought this hat and I don't know what year it's from. Well, check the inside band, and if you have it, it should have like the markings on the inside band, and the first 2 digits are for what year it was produced, and the third digit is the producer of the hat itself, and it was issued to this player because that's based on the 8th digit for this year range. Super extremely knowledgeable, kind of scary at sometimes. But the issue, like I said, is the site looks like it's from 2002. But its wealth of knowledge as far as what exists, especially pre-war, and memorabilia is amazing. So it's something to check out.
No, definitely. And also Go to GTS was another one that is a good site to go check out and get information about a lot of new releases. We had last week in the chat, we had Robert Tran, who's one of the hosts of the Go GTS live show that's on Thursday nights. Him and Ivan do a show together, and so they always have new product, and they're one of the largest distributors, I think, throughout the country. So lots of good information from there. So we're going to do more on this in the Dime Box. I think Ben and I are going to, and maybe Steph on Sunday, are going to try to get together to do a quick one on collecting 101, just on the kind of basics of collecting, and hopefully we'll be able to have that out to you and share that. We're also going to get a lot more live on locations. I know that there's a show here a month from this Saturday, October 20th, that I will be at. I'm hoping that Ben will join me, and maybe even Mr. Bice, who I saw was in the chat. Maybe Bice will show up and we can go hunting for some cards. So the last little segment I have tonight is Game of Chance, a new one, buying into breaks. So, guys, do you guys ever, what are your thoughts on breaks in the first place? Steph.
So I guess one of us has to be told to go first.
Yeah.
No, I have a select few number of people that I will specifically go through to buy into a break. Just people that I've been breaking with for years that I trust, that I know very well. I know how they run it, and I know that I can reserve my team. And there's nothing wrong with the other huge main breakers. It's just not for me. I'd rather pay $6 for 2-3 boxes broke, everything shipped, no hassle to me, versus 5-6 box mixer has to be sold out today. Random teams only by division. If I'm not gonna just outright go on eBay and buy my team sets, that's who I'm going to go through. It's just my select group of 3-4 known names. And There are people that only send that specifically send all the cards for the team or player that I rely on, just because I'm not gonna only get the hit from the box. It's just not a thing that I like. And I ranted a bit. So Ben, go ahead.
But do you want to share who that is? Or are you gonna keep that a secret?
Well, there's a few people. Crack and Wax, if I can ever get in, or if he's ever actually selling the twin spot. Great seller, does a lot of charity breaks. That's one of them. There is a smaller breaker, a friend of mine out of Colorado, Batcave LV on Twitter, that does $750 breaks. Pick your team. Usually reserves the twins for me. And then there was a newer person that he's been doing quick, like $6 3-box breaks that I'll have to dig up his name. But quick, no hassle, bubble mailer, great.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about the guys I go with. I like Mojo Break. They ship everything. They're going to tell you. Now they'll do all their breaks are guaranteed. They have a calendar, so all their breaks will break that day, and they're guaranteed to break. And I like those guys. And the reason being is they're upfront and honest, and they're going to tell you everything with them ships unless they say they're not. And on certain products, if it's like a really good deal, they're only going to ship you the hits, and the rest of those cards they donate to a local little league in their area in the Bay, and they also send them out to other charities to give away. I know that, and that's a rare thing where they don't ship all the cards. A lot of the times it's with Contenders football, because that base set no one really ever cares about. So I know it happens a lot with that one. But I like them once in a while. Lately, the Royals haven't been the best team in the last year or so. But it's a good way if you buy into like a flagship product to get your full team set and then maybe gather a hit or two. It's also fun on Bowman Day when that comes out if you have a team that has some good prospects. I don't do it as much as I used to because I've really focused my collecting on team sets and individuals, and not really gone after like the big hits or crazy randoms or anything like that. I enjoy watching them, and they're entertaining to me because it gets me to see a bunch of different product that I might not open. Ben, what are your thoughts?
You know, this segment probably could last about an hour with all my thoughts. In a nutshell, I used to break quite a bit with a few different breakers a couple years back before I became an A's only collector. You know, trying to buy teams that had a decent chance of hitting something in the break. And my intent was, you know, like anybody, you know, you hit something good, you sell it. And then I had some experience with a local card shop on both sides of the camera. I was running his break site and doing all the on-camera stuff, doing all the shipping associated with it. I definitely respect the smaller guys because the margins are razor thin. I mean, it doesn't matter how you price it. There's not a lot of money. And if you can't sell out and you start eating teams, you're probably coming in the red. Nowadays, I typically stay away from them. I know most of us buy stuff from Brent Williams. You know, for me, it's easy just to get my master set or even multiple team sets. If like with Flagship, you have gold and rainbow and whatnot. I did get into a break with case breakouts. So let's throw a shout out to Chris. Jenny mentioned him in the chat room as well. Topps Chrome was coming up. There was a lot of parallel sets. She, I believe, had already bought the twins, and she's like, hey, the A's are available. It was affordable price. This past Friday, in fact, I got into a Heritage High break with him and ended up hitting the action variation of Jonathan Lucroy. You know, the idea, if you're a team or player collector, is whatever the team is valued at, you got to hope that you're at least going to get about half of your investment. The other half's got to come out of it, just like opening a box. The thrill of the unknown. There's 6 boxes sitting there. I know there's cards for me in there. I'm going to get my team set out of there and probably multiple team sets, and I might get a hit. I might get a variation short print of some kind. So there is
nothing.
Yeah, you might not get anything outside of your team sets, but just be careful about the cost the amount of money you're spending on that. And ultimately, at the end of the day, when that package comes, what are you looking to get out of it? If I spend money with Brent, and I spend, say, $30 and I'm looking to get 3-team sets, when that comes, I know that I'm getting my 3-team sets. There's safety. It's not a surprise. I know exactly what I'm buying from him. So, if you go on eBay, same thing. I'm buying this card. It cost me $5. I know it's coming in 3 days. So just be careful. Know that, hey, I'm spending $25 on the Milwaukee Brewers. That's my set or my team, and I'll get my team set out of it. If I hit something, great. Am I overpaying for my team set? Yes. But if you end up hitting something,
it's one of those things. It's a little bit more of a gamble, but the thing is, it allows you to get your team in a product you might not be able to afford on your own.
Sure,
so, like getting into Transcendent, you're going to get a card. The way they probably do it is you're going to get a card out of that break, right? Or if it's National Treasures, and you can buy in and get your team at a price and know, hey, there's a possibility I might not get anything. There's a possibility I'm going to get an auto relic of a player, and I would never be able to have National Treasures. I know a lot of breakers, like with the National Treasures, like with one of Mojo's favorite ones is you can buy in, and it's like a $15 spot, and you get a random number from 1 to 99. And you get all the cards so if the card's 13 of 99 and you had 13, you get that card. If you have 1, you get all the cards numbered 1, so you're going to get all the 1 of 1s, but you're also going to get 1 of 99. And it's pretty awesome. I mean, it's cool to go through, and hey, it's $15. It's it's less than a blaster, and hey, I might hit that 101 or have a crazy auto or that I was never going to be able to afford in a National Treasures break.
Let me know the case or two. You're probably on their website more than I am. Let me know the next time they do that if I'm available. Maybe I'll hop in. And that's the other thing too. What was fun about the Topps Chrome break was Jenny had the Twins. I have the A's. Now I'm breaking with a friend of mine, and we're both enjoying, this break together.
Yep.
It would be, if let's say the 3 of us got together and had 3 other friends together, and we all picked a division. I know the 2 of you guys, unfortunately like a team in the same division, but then it could be one of those things too that, any Twins or Royals hits. But if we all picked a division and then we opened up 3 boxes of the same product together, or if we all got our teams and then sold the difference, it could be fun as a group. That's part of it as well, is the excitement of, we used to do that at the local card shop all the time on their monthly break night. You're opening up some packs and everybody's excited, trading teams. There's an associated value in that as well. We all go to the movie theater. You don't know if the movie's going to be good, but you're still spending $30. Best thing you could do is wait for it to come out at the red box and pocket for 27.
Oh no, definitely. Again, you're gambling, and it's the same as if you go into the hobby shop and you buy a box, you buy a blaster. You never know what you're going to get out of there. There's a certain number of cards that you're going to get. There's a possibility of other things. A break is very similar, and it just allows you to get into things that you might not normally be able to have afforded before or been able to enjoy. Again, I love it because I can watch and not be invested in it, but have a good time watching and seeing what other people break. I love watching these breaks have 50 or 60 boxes that cover 5, 6, 7 years of product. And you remember, oh God, I wish they still made that. Like, oh, I wish they had that. And it takes you back and you remember some awesome product, and then also some skunkers, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember why that one was garbage and they stopped making it or whatever. But it's really cool to go back and see those products. So, and see things open. I mean, like if I could open cards all day and get paid for it, oh man. And you got to be careful. There's a lot of people that are fly-by-night breakers, and you need to be aware of that. There's a lot of people breaking on Facebook, and they're the thing is, do your research, get a reference, get a good recommendation from somebody. If you have questions, you can always reach out to us and ask us if we've heard of them or if we've dealt with them before, because the 3 of us have been around since breaking's really, taken off in the last 8 years or so. Really like the last 5 or 6 since I got back in the hobby, it's really taken off. But it's been about 8 years or so that breaking's been a thing, and just ask, and that's the best thing. Hey, this guy's got this break. Should I hop in? Have you heard? Are they reliable? Are they honest? Are they you're going to get what you pay for? So
yeah, sure.
But guys, as we end tonight, any final thoughts? I feel bad that I kind of get on Ben's case, but at the same time, I love to get his goat and get him going on a topic that really doesn't matter in the hobby at the end of the day.
Sure, just Ben being petty,
right? Just
when you start out a sentence, I want to argue tonight. I mean, that gets my blood flowing, man.
Yeah,
I love that. I did have two things I want to touch on real quick if we can. Sure. The first one just being. Jenny had made a comment when you mentioned something about the dime box segment that she said, I'll just stick to the podcast. The idea behind this actually came from somebody I want to throw a shout out to. His name's Chris Leroy. His basic thing is, I'm just getting into the hobby and there's so much I don't know that, the idea behind this is the reason that we're going to call it dime box or some derivative thereof is that it's going to be 10 minutes or less, no more than 10 minutes. It's all going to be fact-based. In other words, we're going to explain the difference between hobby and retail boxes for those that might not know. It's not going to be opinionated what we collect and whether we buy it or not, kind of a thing. We want to explain what refractors are and numbered cards and serial numbers, et cetera, et cetera. And they're just going to be 10-second spots either with just one of us, two of us, or all three of us.
Yeah, sure.
And the idea is it's all just going to be to help other collectors out. Eventually, we'll do one on how to ship things safely. For those that might not know, there's a lot of good resources on YouTube. But, some of the stuff is going to be our opinion in that case. And then the other thing I wanted to throw out real quick was the shout out to Chris. He's a loyal listener. He brought that to our attention like, hey, this is a topic that's important to me. And as a loyal listener, he also hit me up today, say, hey, I got a Matt Olson red auto out of Heritage High if you're interested. And he gave me a sweetheart of a deal. So I appreciate Chris for that. We definitely appreciate him for listening to the show like everyone else as well and brought his thoughts to us. And so we definitely want to reach out. That's kind of why we decided to maybe dabble with this along with the live on location one that we had also come out with.
Yeah, no, it gives us a different venue to give different stuff. And, we're trying some new things here, and there's so much that we want to give back and go over that sometimes the show doesn't pertain to that. And the show is more of a weekly synopsis of what's going on in the hobby at that moment in time. These others are going to be the dime box is going to kind of be like an evergreen thing where you can go back to and use as a resource. The live on location is going to give a great experience of what we're going out and seeing. And, if it's something that there's someone that you want to have and you want to share, you can send that video and we're more than happy to share that with everybody. And Steph, you had some thoughts there?
Just, it's not so much that we'd like to stick to our 10-minute formats. We love talking with you guys. And by all means, send us questions and suggestions. And if you see something big and new that we haven't, talked about or retweeted or whatnot, be sure send it our way. And we'll try to talk about it.
One other thing that we've toyed with those 10-minute dime box segments is introducing collectors. Maybe having a quick little 10-minute interviews with collectors so we can hear their story, their collecting habits. We've had quite a few people that have reached out and say, hey, if you guys ever have time, I'd love to be on the show. And this might be a cool way for us to introduce where it may not fit into the flow of the show. It just gives us, hey, this is like a dime box corner with our friend Jenny, and she can explain why she collects the twins, why Miguel Sano specifically, so on and so forth. And it'll be a fun way for us to get to know other collectors. And, a couple of different ideas. It's not going to be an every week thing. It's just going to be kind of like, hey, something came up this week. I think we should cover it. And once again, the main thing is we want to stay away from our opinions as much as, it's
going to be more reporting and factual information. So
yeah,
it's more going to be like a blog post about what's going on. One thing I wanted to bring up that I saw last night that it was so awesome. If you don't follow him, UK Brian at UK Brian 270 on Twitter, posted a photo of him. He's a big Dale Murphy collector, and he's tons of PSA graded Murphy cards, and he was hanging them on the wall, and he sent a picture out. I mean, it's amazing, and a lot of them are 9s and 10s, and he said, finally a couple hours to work on the card room again. Figured I'd get some Dale Murphy cards displayed. Be glad when I get this all done. He actually tagged Dale Murphy on it. Murph responded back, "Wow, thank you." I'm gonna pull up here. We'll share it out via the Twitter page. If it's 4 rows, I mean it's long. It's a wall full of cards, and this is probably not even all of them. But the fact that Dale Murphy reached back out and said, "Wow, thank you," being a collector of mine. I mean, we've talked about Murph before on the show. Probably one of the best autographs in the hobby. 2, when he did that reverse negative auto on the 89 upper deck for the guy, so he had on the reverse and the regular. It was great. So just one of those things. I've done, done some trades with UK Brian before. Great one in the hobby to follow. That'd be like a little spotlight, but give him some love tonight. Something great I saw this week in the hobby. And there was one other thing here. I'm just trying to go through. We share so much stuff back and forth about the hobby and what's going on.
Well, yeah, and if we do the dime box spotlight, maybe Brian might be the first guy to have on, or one of the first guys to. Again, first question is why Dale Murphy?
Right.
I remember tweeting something out a while back with some of my personal collections that are not baseball related, and one of them was Adrian Morel, the former running back for the New York Jets in the '90s, and that was Tim's question: why Morel of all people? And it's kind of fun to know why would you select. Tim's got a personal connection to Garrett Hampson. I used to play high school baseball with Nick Johnson and McClatchy here in the Sacramento, California area. So we all have a certain connection. You've got was it Ryan Eads? Is that the kid's name?
Yep, Ryan Eads and Logan Morrison.
Yeah. So, but why? That's what's kind of cool is we don't always know why. Maybe we all know why with these particular group of players, but we don't know why Brian all of a sudden, why Dale Murphy, and that'd be cool to kind of find out. And it is such a phenomenal collection. Envious for us.
Toss out in the same realm. Why Rich Hardy collects Daryl Richardson?
Yeah, it'd be fun to start putting together a list of people, and if we can catch them. And that's the other reason too, is not everybody's on a Pacific Coast time, and so to have people on to interview them, and that would be kind of tricky, So for us to be able to pull somebody aside on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon for just 10 minutes and say, hey, let's talk about your collection and why UPC and what UPC and a little bit about who you are. I think it'd be fun. And if
absolutely
you want to watch, great. If hey, it might just be a good way to help build the community and get people excited about. Because you never know how. I mean, I've mentioned this before. Stefan shows me blank front cards. The next thing I know, I've got packages coming this week. You don't know until you start seeing what other people collect. It's fun to get excited about other people's collections.
Yeah, no, definitely. And as we wrap up tonight, guys, again, thank you for joining us here on YouTube tonight, and also all those listening out on iTunes and now Stitcher. It's great, and we appreciate it. All the listens and downloads and the shares and everything that we get. It just blows us away. I mean, we're here on episode 14, and it kind of is surprising that I think that we have this many. We're going to keep going. I love doing this every week, and we'll continue until no one listens anymore, and it's just the three of us arguing back and forth, and then we'll probably still continue, right? But always check us out, and please subscribe and review, and let us know. Hit at us on Twitter or on one of those pages, and let us know what we can do better, or if you have some ideas. We're always open, and we want to share and grow that hobby knowledge. Again, follow us on Twitter about the cards. You can always follow Ben at our trading cards, Steph's at Junkwax Twins, and I'm Big Ship 79. Again, thank you for hopping in and joining us tonight. Have a good night, guys. Thank you.
Yep. Have a great night, great weekend.